It's The Session. I'm your host, Michelle Nicole Charles, and today we have the owner of my favorite tea shop. Arlene's in the building, the owner of Teapop. How are you doing?
Hello.
I'm gonna jump right into it,
Okay.
because that's just what I do, make it do what it do. So Arlene, tell me how you even started. Wait, how the hell? First of all, you look young as hell. I don't, you know, you don't have to say your age or anything like that, but you're an owner of your own successful tea shop. Mm-hmm. How did that get started? Tell me your journey. Like, what made you even want to open a tea shop?
Yeah, well, I never drank coffee, like, ever since forever. I don't like drinking caffeine, I don't drink soda. I just try to keep it real simple, and like, I'm Chinese, so just growing up, like family meals, you would just drink tea. If you go out to eat, we would drink tea. So I liked drinking tea, and there was never a place that I could go. Like, people have like their coffee shops, like their neighborhood coffee shops where they're like, this is my jam, I always get this. And like, when friends would say like, hey, let's meet up for coffee, I'd be like, yeah, I'll have a water, you know? Or like, they have really bad tea or something. So I was always like, man, like, it would be really cool to have a place like a coffee shop that still has that communal culture. Like, it's kind of the third space. It's not your home, it's not your work. You can still hang out with your friends there. But instead of all coffee, serve tea. So I was actually a dancer choreographer for the past like 10, 12 years, like ever since I lived in LA. So, you know, just kind of health and like wellness is a kind of a part of the dancer lifestyle. And I actually got injured a few years ago. I had a back surgery. So after that happened, I was like, well, what else would I do if I wasn't dancing and teaching and, you know, like basically just like having a physical career.
Right.
So
That's
just,
wild.
yeah.
Well, you know, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, it was perfect. And you would always hear about like dancers always getting injured or, you know, like knee problems, back problems, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that does, you know, like that happens way far out. But I was like, oh, happened when I was 27. So I was like, oh, that's about the time, because I started dancing when I was 3.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
like, you know, like if you kind of like do the math, you're like, that's about right. Like throwing your body around and, you know, doing the auditioning thing. It's like you're just always moving, always using and that's your tool.
Right.
So after that point, I was like, cool, I'm gonna just start writing a business plan for like something that I would want to do outside of dance. And so I just started with tea. I import it from Taiwan, which is where my mother's side is from. And so that was kind of cool, just kind of connecting with
Your roots.
with my roots
Yes.
that way, and bringing kind of Taiwanese style tea, mix it with kind of a very like American or LA kind of coffee shop culture. And so that's kind of how Teapop came about.
That's amazing. So how did you get your business plan started? Like, did you do it yourself? Did you research? Did someone assist you with it? Did you pay somebody to do it?
No, yeah, I just wrote it for myself. Basically just to get clear on what I wanted, because when you are your own boss, no one's telling you have to do this, you shouldn't do that. Anything is possible. So for me, I wasn't gonna like give the business plan to anybody, but I just needed to know like what the hell do I want out of a place, you know, like what do I want people to feel or drink or consume, and how do I want them to gather, what do I want like the walls to look like. You have to like pick out every little detail. All those things matter. So coming from kind of an artistic or creative background, like that was really important to me, because you know, when you walk into a space, you're like, ugh. Some places are like, this place doesn't feel right. Or like the music is whack.
Right.
Or,
and that's what I was gonna say. The music is always on point when I go over there, because I used to go every Tuesday and have my meetings there and get work done, and I always was like, hey, like vibing. I'm just like, I love it. The chocolate chip cookies are bomb.
Yeah.
Do you guys bake them, or?
We don't bake them, so we use local vendors, like people who are in the neighborhood. So, so it's like we want to support kind of like local economy.
That's
too.
amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah, like it was important for me to be like, I didn't want to have a restaurant or a bakery, because that's like a whole nother deal. But I did want to have a place where it was a community spot. So that took from, you know, like for me, it was important to use like a bakery in the neighborhood, and use, you know, food vendors in the neighborhood, and then hire people who live in the neighborhood, because, you know, it's like always fun when you like walk around, you're like, oh, hey, yo, like, you see them at the grocery store, you see them at CVS, and, you know, you just, it's kind of fun to...
And they become a familiar, friendly face.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Like,
which is
feels like family.
Yeah, and that's hard to come by in LA.
Tell me about
to
it.
feel like you belong somewhere.
Yes.
Feel like, oh, I have community.
Back to the business plan. So you got your business plan together, and then as far as funding, did you go with an investor? Was it your personal savings? Was it like a gift family gave you, like, here, start your thing?
So it was a mix. So I had savings,
Okay.
and then because I did full-time teaching. I taught dance full-time for the 2 years before to save up, and then I asked family to invest.
Nice.
So it was kind of like it was a little bit of that, and then also, I mean, it was like bootstrapping though. It's like when you're starting your own business, and I had never worked in a cafe or a coffee shop before, so I was kind of learning as I was going. But I basically just like went to my family. I was like, "Yo, listen, like this is what I want to do," and you know, they like, thank God, just like believed in me enough to like invest some money. It wasn't a lot, but I also had a lot of good friends and community and like people from church who like came out and helped me build the place for free.
What?
Yeah.
That's a blessing. That's dope.
Yeah. Or like super, super cheap. You know what I mean? Like I just had friends who would come and just like tear down some walls. It's like you can't ask for anything more than people to just show up
and support
in real life and support. Yeah, so that's huge too, because I always tell people like it's more than just like having money and cash. Like you have to have like value in your life, or like, you know, like there's a currency that's not necessarily cash money. So, you know, for me, that's in relationships. Like the value in my life is relationships, and those are the people who are going to show up.
I mean, that's key.
Yep.
Relationships are key, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't have a strong foundation or dope relationships, then half the things probably wouldn't haven't gotten done, you know?
Yeah. Or, you know, you end up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars because, you know, like you don't have help. You just have to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how was it, like the grand opening? Was it like a full house, or how was that?
It was so dope. Like I remember when, you know, we paired the opening up with a friend of mine who did the graffiti on the side of the North Hollywood shop, and he also had a little art opening, because what we do in the shop is we feature a new artist every month on the wall. So it's kind of like a monthly showcase.
I love it. I've been, and they have like beer and wine.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So we like support. We want to support kind of like local LA artistry, and a lot of these artists aren't necessarily like gallery, you know, like that level of like art,
right?
Like showcasing.
They're still trying to, you know.
Yeah, they're still like on the come up, or
Right.
they do it as a hobby. They want to do art full time. So like we're kind of like a cool little on ramp for them, because there's zero commitment, and I also don't take commission, so it's like 100%
I love
go to
it.
the
Oh,
artist.
that's amazing.
Yeah, because I think it's a trade off. It's like, hey, do you want to hang your art? It creates like a cool vibe for all of our customers, and
Right.
then it's a space for you to get any exposure.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah. So that was kind of my way of like giving back. But so for the opening, for the grand opening, we had no furniture yet, like zero furniture, no menu, but we had like an open space. So we were like, cool. So I paired it up with my friend who's doing his kind of like, he was our first artist that we showed, and like everybody showed up. It was super fun. Like at that point, I think we only had like maybe like six teas that we like knew that were good and like we could serve.
That's funny.
So yeah, it was straight up just like bootstrapping, like on a budget, and just like really relying on friends and like, you know, just a network to come out and support. And from there, you know, we slowly built a menu, and then like a year in, we got new furniture. Yeah, so I would say like writing the business plan though, I tell everybody that wants to start any type of business, like even if you're not gonna get funding or invest, like you're not gonna show anybody, just do it for yourself, so that like on days when you're like, what am I doing, and like what the hell is going on, you always go back to like your mission, you know, because it's so easy to forget that.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the I don't want to say cons, but what experiences that you faced that taught you like, okay, I'm going to do this better next time for my business?
Like the way that we opened, like 'cause
Okay.
I could go back and be like, man, I should have like got more money. I should have like, you know, saved a little bit more so that we could have furniture right when we opened. But it was like, I remember the customers that did come in, like they were a part, like even our regulars now, like they were a part of the progress of like seeing the space change and like improve little by little as we like made a little bit more money. So like even that was like inviting people into the story of like, hey, we're opening up and we're not perfect, and you know, like we look like we're just like an empty like kids furniture store. But you know, even that kind of stuff, like I'm like, I loved having that part of the journey and just like being vulnerable with like, hey, we don't have the money to do any of this yet, but we will, you know, if you like keep supporting us. Yeah, I would say like even I would probably have been a little smarter with like, you know, the contract. That like, you know, when you lease a space, like with the contract, like, but I didn't know. I've never like owned a business before.
So what advice would you give someone who's going to lease a space? Like what to look out for in the contract?
Yeah, like just know that like when you lease a space, it's like you're in it for that long, you know.
Okay.
I think there's a commitment level that like you can't really foresee because everything's super exciting when you're about to start a business, that you don't realize like, oh, everything that's written down on paper and that you sign is legitimately like, you know,
what it is
for the time that you're signed up for. So so yeah, like I would definitely just like get a bunch of counsel, like talk to other business owners in the same spot, or like have a lawyer look over the contract, make sure everything is legitimate, because you know on the other side, like somebody who's leasing a space or a landlord, like they just want as much money out of you as possible, which is, you know, they're running a business too. Right. So you just have to know everybody that you work with is running a business, so you kind of have to like be smart in like protecting yourself and knowing where you stand, which is again part of your mission and a part of like the vision for the space. So like just don't ever compromise, you know, a part of the vision of your business or what you want just because you're like, oh well, this is available. Like don't ever devalue yourself or your business,
right?
Like to get something short term, you know what I mean? Because you know everything's long term. You can never ever imagine, you know, like how much you could fail or succeed like exceedingly. So yeah, just like make sure that you like know what you want, and then if that offer is not there, that you can turn it down.
How did you, so right now you just opened up another T-Pop in downtown, yeah?
Yep.
Where is that in downtown LA?
It's in the industrial district, so kind of south of like Little Tokyo or the Arts District.
Okay.
So it's kind of on the fringe right now, which is again like a thing that I really like to do, is like be a part of like a developing neighborhood. So it's a little sketchy, but
it's smart though.
Yeah.
Because
you
already know where everybody knows downtown's gonna be the next.
Yeah.
Or it low key is already popping.
Yeah.
Because I want to move to downtown.
Yeah, it's definitely like a very, like a lot of developers are going in there. It's kind of still like the Wild Wild West, because you're like, where is this going? And there's so much money and investment going into downtown, but there's not necessarily like a lot of people there yet, you know? But yeah, I like kind of being a part of like a neighborhood where you can kind of grow with the community and be on the forefront of like the change. So that's why I chose downtown. And like, you know, just for artistic value.
Right, downtown is so artsy. That's another. Yeah, girl, I see what you're doing here. Because NoHo, you know, is known as the NoHo Art District as well, so that's smart. I see what you're doing. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So how did you know you were ready to expand to open another one?
Man, it was always part of the plan. So I knew that I was like, okay, like 2 to 3 years in, I'm gonna possibly open up a second one. So it was always like in the back of my mind. And so when the first one kind of was like self-sufficient in a sense, I was like, okay, we're gonna try a second one. And then I feel like a second of like a replication of like your first one, it's always kind of proof that the concept is good and successful. So, because you know, like you can have one thing and do it really well and do that one thing forever and ever, but I'm like, expanding was kind of like a test to see, like, do people drink tea in LA? And also like outside of North Hollywood, like can we build community in another neighborhood, kind of in the same way. So I think like having my first shop be kind of like all good, like people love it, it's an establishment now. I loved all my staff, like it's such a family there, so I felt like I didn't necessarily have to be I didn't have to like be in the trenches there anymore.
Nice.
I didn't have to be there like managing things every day. I kind of could trust like some staff to kind of take it over, which I think is really important too, because you never want your business to be all about you.
Right.
You know, if it is, that's fine. But, you know, let's say if anything ever happens, I break my leg or like I want to move or whatever, like, you know, life stuff happens, like it's not just relying on me, because that's a lot of pressure on one person. So I think like for me it was good to kind of like trust other people with it, like with my staff, and I love them. They're all so amazing. So with that, I felt so good about like, wow, this thing that like I created from nothing, let's see if we can do it again. So, you know, like about 2.5 years, from starting the first shop, I was like, let's open up another one. So
I love that you're challenging yourself, like you're pushing yourself, like, all right, let's see if people bring the tea in downtown too, you know? And that's what life is all about, you know, challenging yourself and pushing yourself to do better and do bigger and greater things, you know? Like you're expanding your community, you know?
Totally. And it's not all like, it's not all fun and games. Like,
of
it's
course
so
not.
scary. And, you know, like, I feel like for me, I'm like, there's like some dark days where you're like, why did I just put myself through this again? And, you know, there's like I have my freak out moments that like a part of like leadership, and I feel like being a good like business owner is not like putting all that out there, but it doesn't mean I don't feel it. So like every day it's like, oh man, is today the day that like, you know, like my business is like shut down, you know, you just never know.
Yeah.
Like nothing is permanent forever. So, so yeah, it's like I still like pushing myself, and that's important to me, but yeah, it's like you gotta like take all the good with the bad too. So there's all the fear and anxiety and stress and being responsible for people's livelihood.
And how do you deal with that? How do you cope with handling stress when you're under pressure?
Oh man, I'm like, because I used to be a dancer, I was like every 6 months I gotta at least like get into the studio, freestyle, do some yoga, like go outside and like just soak. Like sometimes I'm like, I just try to take like a morning off and just do nothing.
That's so necessary.
Yeah. And you know, like I feel like there's like I kind of have like an immigrant guilt built into me, whereas like my family, like everybody works so hard. Like I get my work ethic from my parents, so there's always this like voice of saying like, you gotta work, like be productive every minute of the day, but you can only do that for so long before you hit a wall. So, you know, for me, it's like part of being like mentally healthy and also being a pleasant person is like you need time to like recharge and you know, just like be outside, and nature is so healing. So like I'll make sure to like, you know, go outside and just like chill, whether it's like go to the beach or go to a park and just hang out and just reflect. And then those are the times when it's like you get ideas, or like you kind of get in moments where you're like, oh man, like I should change this up, or you know, I should start doing this, or you just get ideas. So I think that's super important. Yeah, yoga's been like the biggest thing, because it's just like a set hour of like someone telling you to kind of like chill out,
right
and stretch. So you know, for me, coming from dance too, like it's important to still like have a connection with my body, but not everybody's like, everybody just kind of needs to find their own thing.
Right.
Yep.
Everybody needs to find their own way to have that mental health day, because that's so necessary, and it's so important, because you can like drain yourself. You can become so exhausted by just like, okay, like you said, I gotta work. The other man is sleeping, so I gotta stay on top. You know what I'm saying? Or if I take a break, I don't want someone else. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or not even with competition, just as far as just bettering what you're doing. You know, it can become exhausting. You just really need to take that a day for yourself. I try to do that. One day out of the week, I try to be like, all right, it's Michelle day. Like, legit. And be like, all right, I'm going to sleep in a little bit, have a nice big breakfast and a little mimosa to go with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, whatever floats your boat, you gotta find your thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and like give yourself a break and have grace on yourself. Because I think like there is this whole, like in LA, like everybody's hustling and grinding 24/7. But that's not necessarily mean like, you know, you're gonna be like a whole person at the end of that process. So, you know, I always tell people, I'm like, make sure you're doing something that fills you up, and then from then on out you can like give out all of your energy to whoever. Because, you know, there's days I wake up and I'm like, who do I need to be today? You know, like, do I need to be like a good manager? Should I just be me? Do I need to be the artist today? You know, you wear so many hats, then so many people need different things from you. Like, where's my paycheck? Where's my this? Where's my that? So like, you know, you just gotta like first thing in the morning, I'm like, who do I need to be today? God, what do you want me to do? You know, or like send me some relief. Here's my anxiety. Like, I just like go through like a process for like, okay, here we go.
Right. And it's true. You do have to wear multiple hats when you are the business owner. You know, like I just recently read an article on Forbes with Nipsey Hussle, and he's like, I sweep the floors, I fold the clothes, like I do what I gotta do. Like, you know, when you are a business owner, you have to wear multiple hats. You don't be like, oh, that's you handle that. Like, no, it's your stuff, your vision. You want to make sure everything's on point, so you gotta handle it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's important. So that leads me to my next question. How do you know Not know. Well, yeah. How do you know who's the right person to bring onto your team? Because I understand building a team is very important when you are building a business, any type of business. How do you know? Do you go off of gut feeling, intuition when you're interviewing people? How do you find them? Are there references?
Yeah.
Or referrals, should I say?
I definitely think so. You kind of have to gauge. There's no like correct profile,
Okay.
right? So when I'm hiring someone, or like the people that became the team that I opened my first shop with, it was like, who has, because you can teach people how to do the kind of like task, like the tasks of the job. I think as long as that person is someone that you vibe with and that you share a work ethic with. I'm always looking for someone to do it better than me, right? Because I want to be replaced. I don't want to be the sole person that knows how to do everything, because then I'm putting everybody else out of a job. So I'm always like, okay, can this person, are they teachable? Are they directable? Are they humble? I think that's huge too. And, because that's like being in any kind of retail or restaurant or food and beverage, it's like you kind of get a little trampled on. Like people kind of treat you a little bit like
you're a server, like you're...
Yeah. There can be those moments, or there can be those kind of people who are like, give me my latte and give me it now. Like you're just like, oh, I'm a person, but
Right.
it's, it's like you have to be humble enough to know that like you're in a place of like, yeah, I'm in customer service. I want to serve because I like doing it. So I always look for people who are like service oriented, who care, just like have a natural care about them, which that's not something you can teach. That's just like, if your mom and your dad raised you well,
yes,
then you'll care about people, So that's something you can't pay enough money for someone to give a crap
That's so
about,
true.
Things being clean, or someone kind of looking down, like, like you have to be a little emotionally intelligent too, and you work with so many customers. Like throughout the day we have like, so many people that come through our shop. So, usually it's like, you can kind of tell, like even just in the interview, just asking certain kind of questions, like if people kind of lead on to like, they're like, hey, are you feeling okay? That matters, like just those little moments that matters, and like creating a connection, like whether they're a customer or not. Like some of our first customers have become really good friends of mine. Like we'll go out and grab a drink or grab dinner just because like that connection was there. It was just kind of like we care about them, they care about us. Like the support was mutual. So even though we're a business, like like I'm still Arlene, like I'm still a person that I still want like human connection like throughout the day. So
absolutely,
yeah. So I just think that's really important, like humility and like work ethic. Those two things that go together. And then like the tea and the coffee stuff you can teach almost anybody. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So personality is big. Yeah. So it's like anybody that going out for like a job, I was like, work on your patience and your humility, and I think that those are like kind of the most valuable like assets that you can have as a person. Just whether you're trying to find a job or not, like those are qualities that everybody looks for.
Absolutely. Now as far as marketing, your shop is popping, obviously. You're opening another one, and I've been there several times, and it's always busy, and it's a good vibe, good energy, people, a whole bunch of creatives working on their own thing, like it's super dope. What is your marketing strategy, or do you even do marketing at all?
Yeah, not really. It's all like very grassroots. So I've never paid like a PR firm or like a marketing firm to put the word out. It was all very organic, which is kind of like in this day
rare,
very rare.
Yeah,
to rely on like just an organic growth of like your social media. So I was the graphic design person and the social media person when we first started out. So if you like scroll far enough back, like you can kind of see where I did it. Like not by any means was I like an expert at it, but it was just like putting out content enough to like get people to like see or like send people somewhere. So hey, follow us on Instagram so you'll see like some of the drinks that we serve or like some of the events that we've done. So there's that. I have like a person who helps now like run our Instagram, but that's it. Like, other than like free services like Yelp and like using Google and, like making sure that we had like a minimal but really, really well put together website. That was kind of, I did the bare minimum. which sometimes I think like in a world of you get just like inundated with so much information and advertising, all this stuff, sometimes being not so overwhelmed by someone's marketing, I think also speaks really loudly too. You know what I mean? So people are like, oh, this is a cool little spot. Not a lot of people know about it.
Right.
You know, I'm going to take all my friends there. So, yeah, I think that like, I don't know, matters to some extent, you know, that like we're not so corporate looking.
Right.
It's still like a small business, and it's still run by people who just like tea or like the vibe, you know?
And the name is so cute, Teapop.
Teapop,
How
yeah.
did you even come up with that?
I was like sitting with my friend. I was like, yo, I want to name it something really simple and like kind of like self-explanatory, you know? And it just like literally just like came to me. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute, because it's actually there's an ampersand that stands for the E in T-pop in our logo. So the T and A surprisingly stands for T and art, because that's like the two things that pair together.
That's cute.
Yeah, and then the pop kind of like stands for like pop culture and pop-up events. Yeah, because the space is like all about being modular and kind of like accommodating like whatever event we want to put on. Because, you know, like people come, we've done like charity poker tournaments there, and like someone did a burlesque show. We had salsa night.
What?
Like, you know, so many random things, but that's what you get when you kind of are in an artistic neighborhood. People are like, yo, this would be amazing if we could do a ... there. So
Right.
So yeah, we just like, we want it to be kind of a modular space for whoever, and we just like filmed a TV show in there.
Like for Teapop?
For
so someone
show filmed in
Teapop. Okay,
yeah,
dope. Okay.
yeah. So it's like cool because people walk in there and they're like, yo, I could imagine this being a, you know, whatever they want it to be. So, so yeah, that's like super fun. Yeah, just kind of having like a little bit of a blank slate to some people so they can make it what they want when they want to celebrate their birthday or a wedding. Like we're like.
Celebrate a wedding?
Yeah, we just booked our like third wedding.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, people get married in Teapop?
I try to talk them out of it.
Wait.
I'm like, are you sure you want to get married in our back patio at Teapop? Like, it's a tea shop, but like to them, you know, they just want something low key. Like, they don't want a big wedding, so it just works for some people. Yeah,
I would love to see pictures. So
Yeah.
they go in and they decorate the whole back patio, like,
yeah, yep.
and serve tea and.
Yeah, and like they'll rent out the whole space. So like the inside is like where they'll, you know, have like the bar set up, and then outside is where they'll do the reception, and, you know, like full gown, everything. Like,
OMG!
yeah, we have like a little stage in the back, so that's like where a lot of people hold their ceremonies. But like I try to talk them out of it because I'm like, do you want this ingrained in your memories and your pictures forever? But to them, like, it's, you know, that's
It's
what
cool,
they want.
yeah.
So, and it's cheap. It's like we just treat it like it's another event. So yeah, it's like I'm super proud that like people
Want to get married there.
married
That's
at Teapop.
a big deal.
I could have never, like, if, you know, like while I was writing my mission statement, I would have never been like wedding venue.
Yeah.
You know.
The third venue. Do they all know each other, or
No.
This is just like three random couples.
People
Like,
who are just like, yo, we want the day to be like just chill and about our love and not about the venue and the wedding and da da da. So, you know, it's definitely a certain kind of person that
Of
would want to
course,
get married, but,
yeah.
But everybody says, they're like, oh, or, you know, like your back patio is really charming.
It's cute.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm proud of that.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. I would have never known. Wow.
I know that matrimony would happen at Teapop.
Yes.
It does.
So tell me any tips or advice to young entrepreneur. It doesn't have to be women specifically, just people who aspire to be coffee shop owners or tea shop owners, or, you know.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for them? Because I have a girlfriend who wants to open her own tea shop as well, but she lives in DC right now. And I would love for her to hear this.
Yeah, I think if you know, just running your own small business in general, it's like a little bit of like, you got to put on your big girl pants and, you know, step into the role, because there's so many things that like I was not prepared for. However, like as doomsday as it felt when, you know,
What? Give me an example.
like, you know, we had like a lawsuit with, you know, like
Someone getting burned with the tea or something.
well, it was like a, you know, there's like we have a ramp in the back for wheelchair accessibility. But, you know, apparently there's people who go around looking for like small things to sue someone for. It's
Oh,
like a whole job.
wow.
Yeah.
Like-
I didn't know that.
Wait, what do you mean? Like
It's
this was
fraud.
like
It's like
Oh,
it's basically
okay.
just fraud.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like someone's job to go around and like sue small businesses just so you can get like settlement money
that's
out
so
of it.
disrespectful.
I know, and I could have never done it because to me, I'm like, people are good, you know what I mean? But after going through like a process with some lawyers and stuff, they're like, oh no, like this is a whole operation for people, just to get like quick money.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we settled on like a lawsuit just because the whoever it was like couldn't get to the back like where our ramp was, so things like that where it's like you never know that you're unprepared for something until it kind of comes up and you're like, oh, I had no idea that this kind of thing happens. But you just kind of like move forward and you go into it, put on your big girl pants, and like don't freak out about it. Like I just say to most people, like, you're equipped with everything that you need. If you have like the cojones to like start a business and you have a vision for it, do it. Like, don't let anybody talk you out of it. And like, you just got to take all of that, the junk and the drama and the long days. Like today I was just like, right before I came here, like I had to meet like a maintenance person at 7:30 a.m. and then I'm sweeping the back patio and like cleaning up trash before we open. So it's stuff like that like nobody's gonna see. You're not gonna get credit for it, but you just like move through it, like move through the long days and like the hard days. And it, like, there's always going to be good season and there's always going to be bad season. It just comes along with being an entrepreneur. So it's not like, yay, started my business and now I'm rich.
Right.
Like, it's not like step 1 and step 2.
Right.
It's like a scribble. There's no steps. It's just literally just like a big hot mess of so many good things and good emotions and so many bad. So if you want to open up a place, like, be really solid on your mission. And like, if it involves customers and people, it's like you really gotta love those people. Like, I weep for those people, you know what I mean? Like, if after I'm like, oh, today was a terrible day, I failed at this and that, it's like, like, I'm like, but like, I love our customers, I love my staff. So it's like, you kind of have to do something, you have to look for something that's outside of yourself or like a bigger purpose. Because if it's all based off of like your own feelings, it's like, just quit.
Right.
Just don't.
Right.
Yeah, you can't build anything really solid just based off of like your feelings and if you're feeling good or if you're feeling bad. So there's days where it's like, I feel like shit, like I feel terrible today, but I still got to do my job and I still got to show up.
Right.
So yeah, just like put on your big girl pants and like do your thing and do it really well. And if the day comes where you're like, it's too overwhelming and you hit a wall and it's like, that's also not the end of it. You'll still be okay. One business is not going to determine your life too. You'll start another one. Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Arlene, for dropping these gems. I appreciate you coming on the show and keeping it real.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to represent.
Yes. How can we find you on Instagram or your business on Instagram?
Yeah, so there's on Instagram, you can just look up T-Pop. Or T-Pop DTLA, and our website is tpopla.com.
Yes.
Come have a tea, sip a little.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, and once again, good luck.
Thank you.
With everything, and I love what you're doing. I love that you're building a community, and I love that you have a mission and a purpose, and that's super important when you're doing something, when you're building a business or just building anything in general. You have to have a mission and a purpose in life, and I'm glad that you found it. Yeah. And you turned something negative into positive. Being able to turn your injury into what you're doing now is just amazing. It's just like God works in mysterious ways. So.
For sure.
Yes, I love it. All right, love.
Thank you.
Thank you.